describe what you personally did
with
this material
that
weekend.
Yes. What we done is we had a meeting Saturday. We had Subway, had all the managers come in for basically what we call a Subway Saturday, and we all sit down and we went over all this material together before we rolled this out to any of the agents, because you're going to have a lot of different things that you're not going to understand today. So we went over all that information as managers, and then what we done is we rolled everything out. And then I said, but you know what, guys, let's come in next Saturday, let's bring the agents in, we'll buy them lunch just like we done this time, and let's pick this thing apart. Ownership.
And there's also prescriptive times that you could actually have self-development occur on your staff. You could say that hour, what I'd like the team to do for self-development is piece at a time, let's read this together as a team. That might be one. In other words, what you're saying is if you just depend on them to do it, it's going to be too hard to do. But if you would direct that behavior and say, from this time to this time, we're going to read this section. Next week, we're going to read this section. You probably have a better success in getting it done.
Yes.
Other questions for Jared?
Any issues they see that that's going to arise over anything with the whole quantum leap process, anything that they think they're going to have an issue with? I could tell you whether or not it came up and what I done.
Here's one. In reference to the source factors on the back, is it possible that a agent will say, well, you know, my contact to appointment ratio is better than that on vendor leads, for example. It's better than 25 to 1. It's mine's 5 to 1.
Is it?
Well, I mean, that's the question. I mean, is this adjustable, or is this something that, I mean, obviously this came from some sort of statistics.
Yes, this is statistically these are the factors. But is somebody's going to be better than the other? Yes, I would put that number in there as long as they're. But what you want to get away from is everybody said, I'm better than that on the phones, but really they're not. So I would start out and stick to my guns on this and say, well, this is what we're going to do, and we'll get the appointments out we need. But if you see month in, month out, maybe his ratio is better. I wouldn't trust but verify, but I would start this way first, and then if month in, month out he's good, then maybe change it up for him. But I would start this way. I wouldn't just let somebody say my ratio is better. Just me.
Excellent.
What's that? Yes, the Y cord. I tell you guys, the Y cord, I didn't like it. Rob will tell you, I didn't like it at first, did I, Rod? Remember? You are here this time, right? Yeah. I didn't like it at first, but you know why I didn't like it? Because I didn't understand it. There's like, hey, hook this up. And I'm the type of person, if I don't understand it, I'm going to get real nervous and didn't know how to hook it up anyway, so I was all nervous. I don't want to use this. This is crazy. Guys, the Y cord, learn how to hook this Y cord up because this is very informational. Remember I talked about the leadership? I talked about the two types of leadership, the direct and the coaching. This is a great opportunity to coach because you're listening to what the client is saying on the other end. So you're able to coach him because before maybe you just sit out there and, well, I didn't get into an appointment with what happened. Well, they said this. It's able for you to understand exactly what the client is saying, what they're saying back, so you can coach that agent on getting better. The Y cords are great. Anything else? A Y cord is something that we come out with basically gives management the availability to sit down next to an agent and they hook up the headphone, and they also have the same headphone so you can hear both ends. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Just a real quick question. When you have a brand new agent and never been through this before rolling out the GPS and sales system, was there any paralysis by analysis putting this out right in the very first week? How did you deal with it?
Oh, that's a perfect one. Those are the easy ones. You're bringing them in the right way. You know, you don't have somebody that's got their own little system set up. So if you're bringing somebody in, I would sit down and say, listen, this is our processes. This is the way we do things. And then, but again, you want to know what the agent, hey, what are they comfortable with? Don't tell them what they're going to be doing. Because 9 times out of 10, they're not going to do it. People don't like to be told what to do. Coach them. Ask them, what do they want to do? And then put a plan together that way for the new agents. Is that what you mean? Yeah. Well, I'm not sure how you guys done pre-contract before, but pre-contract now, an agent actually coming through a candidate, they do a lot of this before pre-contract. I have agents that are coming in, they're going on appointments, they're seeing these fact finders, they're seeing a close, they're actually coming in and seeing a phone session, and this is before day one, guys. I mean, they know, because why would you bring somebody that have no idea what they're doing? So if you do that, every new candidate, and you're going to love the new recruiting system, by the way, but if you have a new candidate coming in, you basically identify all that before they even start. You can. All right.
One more question. Whoever has the last question wins a car. It's that big, but it's a car. No more questions? Okay, let's hear it for Jared.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Before building a TPS, what do you start with? What's the first step of this? Pick what? Pick the concept. Something Jared said that was real important. He said, find out what they are interested in, excited about, passionate about, what they want to do. That's a key piece to this. Once you pick your sales concept, then what do? You ask yourself, who might be interested in that? Who would that take us to? These target markets. In other words, who would be interested in wealth transfer? Post-retirement, senior people, right? So it would take you to those target market segments. Once I know where they're at, what do I do next? I go to my sources. I pick 3 of and I'll do a math problem. By the way, tomorrow morning you guys are going to take the time and do the math problem. The math problem we'll get past that part, but okay. But there's 3 warm sources I come up with. How many appointments? How many names do I need? Okay. Then I pick what? A cold source. Probably should pick a cold source I'd be interested in. If I really would like to contact businesses, I'm going to pick Worksite. If I like the whole event, by the way, how many of you have people that just love these marketing events? They just like to do them. Pick that one. Okay? What if they're still short on appointments? Pick another one. Backfill with vendor leads. Okay? But after you've put this thing in place, literally what are you doing every PDS once a month? Review, where are we at? What's working? What do we have to adjust? And resetting it. So the PDS becomes kind of a review of your business, but it's also setting up your prospecting and marketing for the next month. Does that make sense to you? Okay. The gentleman in the back said a very, very good point. This is a lot of material. And by the way, this was an attempt to take this much material in 15 different places on Agency Online and take it down to one place for you. And it's still a lot of material, right? It's still a lot of material. So as a team, you guys have to decide, how are we going to digest this material? How are we going to do that? Are we going to get together on Saturday like Jared's team did? Are we going to do this? How are you going to do that? The second and last thing I want to get to before we take the last break that's what we're doing next, right, Matt, is break? All right. You have to do this, and we haven't touched on this. You have to keep score of what the prospecting activities provide you. In other words, there has to be a keeping of score of result. What do I mean by that? I booked 7 prospecting activities. 7 prospecting activities. At the end of the week, what questions should you ask? How many names came from that? Which one gave you the most success? Which one do you feel real strong about that if it didn't provide you names this week, it's going to lead to next week? So you have to establish keeping score of the result of prospecting. If you never ask the result of prospecting, but you say every week, you got to book 7 prospecting activities a week. Do you got it? Yep, good. And I never ask you again about the result of that. What message are we telling the rep? It's not important. The only way we're going to break the doom loop that's described earlier is to get our reps in the habit of doing prospecting earlier in their career. And you can see how we've got this set up. We have you launch out in either Worksite or event marketing. Make sense? Okay. We are going to take a 10-minute break. And where do they report to after that?